It is 586, week number 3. Let's take a look at what's going on this week. Looking at going beyond the textbook, ISTE standards, technology skills, looking at the SAMR model. You have 2 discussion board posts this week and an assignment. So let's dig into all of those things. First of all, I'm just looking at the week 3 content and kind of walking you through, highlighting a few of the things that you want to know. This is directly below where the embedded video is, so if you look right down there, looking at the ISTE standards, some links to kind of the history of ISTE as an organization, how we got the standards they are now. And it's one of those things where, if I'm being honest, when I think about the ISTE standards, I used to think it was something I had to do in graduate work, linked to the standards, or something that was connected with a lesson plan that we were required to do, that we were being observed for, some sort of like official thing that's genuinely not helpful. But what I've learned is that, particularly with the revised ISTE standards, they're really useful for, like, if you're ever feeling stuck in your current role, or you have it in your head but you don't know quite how to describe it or how to kind of interact with others in that space of you as an educational technology leader, because you are now an EdTech leader being in this course, and going through all of this. You are, how would we say it, like in Top Gun, you are the best of the best. That's what's happening right now. And so particularly when I shifted from being in the classroom, my last year I was teaching second grade, to being in a senior leadership role as director of technology, it's just like, how do I know what I want to do, but how do I describe it, or how do I put forth goals, professional goals that sound official, sound kind of coherent, how do I get stuff out of my head there? And actually the ISTE standards, in this example, ISTE standards for administrators, were incredibly helpful, because so much of what those standards are is modeling good technology integration. And so it's almost kind of a nesting dolls kind of philosophy of, like, when I'm doing a lesson with you as teachers, I am trying to model good tech integration, right? Like, if I say I don't want you to stand up and talk in front of students for 45 minutes, if I'm teaching you how to use an app, I better not stand up in front and talk with you for 45 minutes, which has been really helpful for me. And I've found that being able to name that when doing that has gone a long way. Because before, I think a lot of people are in some really old habits that are not good, of like good teaching, good leadership period, is you being in front of a group, leading the group. And leading the group means you are talking and they are being submissive and silent in their seats. And we know that that's not good teaching and that's not good leadership. And so actually naming those, of like, I am now modeling how I want you to interact with your students. I'm going to talk for a few minutes, and then we're going to dig in and actually get some examples going, and get you learning and doing and collaborating and making. Let's create some stuff. All right, here we go. And so that's been really helpful for me. And so I'm hopeful that as you look at those, you'll actually find that they're pretty useful. Other parts in the readings and videos, I have 2 monitors right now, so you see me looking up at my second monitor and then back down at my webcam. Looking at, there's kind of a question about needing support with online distance learning, looking at the EduProtocol field guide. I might retitle that. This is the shell that everybody gets, so I didn't want to edit it. But if you are not familiar with EduProtocols, I'll drop in a link in the weekly, what's it called? The weekly announcement that I give you. I'll link to John Carippo, who kind of started the EduProtocols movement, gave it the name EduProtocols, and give him a follow. Not sure where we're sharing how to find people these days. I guess still Twitter, although Threads came out, so I don't know if any of you are on that right now. I have my account, haven't gone too far into it. But EduProtocols tend to be a way, it's like a lesson plan format. It's like station rotation model. What does that look like with technology? Well, it has a really cool name, but it's the kind of stuff we've been doing, just in a really nice, easily digestible format. They also have great names like The Fast and the Curious, or Iron Chef, that kind of stuff. So take a look at those. You also have a link to Diana Laffenberg's TED Talk. That'll be discussion board number 2. So I'll just put a pin in that for right now. Other things on the week 3 content, lots of links to Rubric Maker. If you've not played with AI text generation like ChatGPT, this could be an interesting time to take a look at designing rubrics with ChatGPT or another text generator AI bot. And then the last thing we have on the week 3 page is looking at the SAMR model. There's a video from John Spencer, who's actually a good friend. I messaged him and was like, your video, like actually just took a photo of our week 3 page. It's there. I was like, oh man, I got to redo that. That's an older video, but it's, I don't know, the SAMR model is what it is. I think he's just gotten better at videos. John is a good dude. Give him a follow also. I mean, the idea about SAMR, there's another SAMR kind of Starbucks metaphor from Chastity Williams. I don't know her, but like the Starbucks model is a really good one. My favorite model for kind of looking at SAMR, and what I'm going to dive into for the rest of this video here, is actually looking at spending time at the beach for SAMR. And another good friend, Sylvia Duckworth, has a great image that shows you graphically what this looks like. So like, if we look at being in the water, no tech is just walking along the beach and going, the ocean is beautiful. Cool, right? Nearly every time I go to the beach, this is what I do. I'm hanging out with my 3 kids, usually with my wife. We just get sand on our feet and we're like, the ocean is awesome. It's great to be at the ocean. I think a lot of what SAMR gets stuck on is there's like a built-in judgment about the R, the redefinition, being better than the S or even the no tech. But I think that the no tech, and in this example, just walking at the beach, is great. Using a post-it note is often the best tool in the classroom for getting feedback quickly, right? So let's take a look at that. And then the S is the substitution. So what does that look like if we're just kind of, going to the beach? Might it be just dipping your toe in the water, maybe with a snorkel? Might that be it? Actually, let me look. What is Sylvia Duckworth? Here we go. So her S is canoeing, right? You're still there, you're still looking around, but like you can look down and there's water, right? It's not necessarily better than the no tech, but you actually get to interact a bit more with it. The A, the augmentation, Sylvia's example is snorkeling, right? You can do a whole lot, like this is significantly different than looking at the ocean going, wow, that's beautiful. Do I want to snorkel with my family of 5 in the ocean? I don't. Is it better? I mean, again, like often it's not better. Right. So as we look at ways of integrating technology, granted in this example, the augmentation is with technology. So when I say like, do we want no technology? Well, no. Like nearly every lesson I've ever taught that I've been proud of, that has been interesting and engaging, has a tech component, right? So we're not just at the beach going, that's beautiful. We're doing stuff. The modification is like actually scuba diving, where like this is a different experience. You're like 30 feet down, you're looking at the ocean in a way it's never been looked at before. Certainly more memorable than just a walk on the beach. And then the redefinition in her example is actually like getting into like a little submarine and like doing all kinds of wild things. So what would be a tech version of that? Well, let's just look like at a writing example. So paper and pencil is the no tech. Substitution would be, let's use like Microsoft Word, text edit, maybe Google Docs. Augmentation might be like, let's start organizing it and like use Google Docs and collaborate with a partner, right? You guys are side by side typing together. Maybe you're using titles to actually organize and create an outline. The modification might actually be like, take that, share it with a classmate, get feedback through comments, and then later come back and actually, do something with it. Look at the comments, resolve the comments, hopefully take their suggestions and make your writing better. And then like the redefinition, my favorite example, I did this when I was teaching 2nd grade, was my second graders would write, and then we did this both synchronously and asynchronously. A good friend, Scott Bedley, who wanted to get his fifth graders practice with editing, he's like, my kids, like, they can write whatever, but they gotta, like, we gotta work on our editing skills. And I was like, I need my kids to get feedback quicker. And so we set up time where my second graders were writing and his fifth graders were giving real-time feedback as the second graders were typing. Fifth graders were giving notes on suggestions of how to make their writing better. And they were maybe 100 miles away. We were in West Covina, they were in Irvine. And that really like redefined what is possible in a second grade classroom with writing. It wasn't just, let's use Google Docs and you can access it from any device. It was, no. Other humans are editing one-on-one tutoring like in real time. Like that's amazing. By the way, that's a fantastic lesson. I don't know why we're not doing this all the time in schools, but we're not. So anyway, so that's my those are my thoughts on the SAMR model. Let's very quickly. Discussion board 1 looks at SAMR model, looks at the ISTE standards. For that first one, your initial response is due Thursday, 2 responses by that Sunday. Discussion board 2 looks at Diana Laufenberg's TED Talk, Learning from Mistakes. Again, initial post Thursday by midnight, 2 responses to that one, Sunday by midnight. And then assignment number 3 is your design project. With this one, you are going to create a lesson plan, create a rubric, and a sample project, a student project. This is one of those where, like, if you're feeling a little bit stuck, ChatGPT can be kind of a great partner to get lesson plan ideas with. Please do not use text generation like ChatGPT to write a lesson plan completely for you and submit it without any edits. That is not good, but if you want to get some ideas or take your lesson plan, plug it in ChatGPT and get some feedback on it, that would be some great use of that. Could be also helpful in getting like a first draft of a student project. When you're doing stuff like this, you don't want to use it as do this project for me, but think about like what role. Like if you had your ideal classroom partner, what would you ask them to do? Like, what do you need the most help with? Is it like editing your lesson plan, right? So throw that into ChatGPT, ask for feedback on the lesson plan, ways to extend it, ways to whatever, like here's my lesson plan. What might a rubric look for? Or, give me 5 ideas for lesson plans around this topic. Then you take those and you build the lesson plan. Like if you need the idea generation, that might help you out with that. Just make sure you're the one actually writing the actual content. Yeah, so the Google Doc that walks you through assignment 3, your design project, walks you through all those details. Make sure, as always, you are looking at the rubric for your assignment as you develop your assignment. Look at the rubric while you design your rubric, and that is what we have for week number 3. If you have any questions, reach out. A happy week there, everybody.